Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Corey Rosin, and you are listening to the Story Podcast. And today I have on a super awesome guest, Mr. Expose Toxic.
Hello.
Born March 2nd, not 20 nothing, 22nd, 1998, rising artist Expose Toxic was raised in a small town in central Pennsylvania with early influences from Eminem, Nirvana, Chris Brown, and Justin Bieber. Expose Toxic started to create his own music. His heartfelt lyrics is what makes him undeniably unique as an artist. In 2018, Exposed Toxic started releasing his music to the world via SoundCloud. The record Stressed Out was his first song to break out into the underground scene. And since then, Exposed Toxic has released 3 independent albums, 4 EPs, and a collective of 30 plus records on all major platforms, catching the attention from numerous radio stations, influencers, journalists, and celebrities, proving to him that this is just the beginning of everything he knew that he was meant to be doing. How you doing today?
I'm good. Hearing you read that, it makes an impact because when I like sat down and I was like, what's a good bio that it briefs everything up for me? Like it's hard when you write down your own accomplishments because you're just living that every single day. But when you hear somebody else say it, it's a little bit more impactful.
So tell me, where did things start for you? And actually, maybe I should read that again. My mic wasn't on the entire time. Maybe I should redo it. What do you think?
I could hear you in the headphones. I don't know if the recording could hear you.
No, the recording could not hear me. I knew that for a fact.
All right, we can do it again if
Let's
you want.
let's rerun it.
All right, let's go.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Corey Rosin, and welcome to the Story Podcast. I'll edit all that out later.
It's all good.
Born March 22nd, 1999, the rising artist Exposed Toxic was raised in a small town in central Pennsylvania with early influences from Eminem, Nirvana, Chris Brown, and Justin Bieber. Exposed Toxic started to create his own music. His heartfelt lyrics is what makes him undeniably unique. In 2018, he started releasing his own music via SoundCloud. The record Stressed Out was his first song to ever break out into the underground scene, and since then, Exposed Toxic has released 3 independent albums, 4 EPs, and a collective of 30 plus records on all major streaming platforms, catching the attention from numerous radio stations, influencers, journalists, and celebrities, proving to him that this is just the beginning of everything he was meant to be doing.
Yes,
Expose, how
sir.
you doing today?
I'm good. I'm telling you, it's a lot more impactful when you read it. It really is. I'm telling you.
So, tell me, when did this all start for you? Where did the music bug bite you?
Okay, so oh man, that's kind of a long story, but I'll kind of brief it up for you. So when I was a little kid, I just remember I would ask my mom for CDs, and I asked her for a Walkman and a radio that was able to play CDs instead of toys when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And what made me do that is I would always watch MTV in the morning and it would be the music videos playing. And I just fell in love with these same few songs. And the first one that I fell in love with was With You by Chris Brown. And I just liked the way that he looked and the way his voice sounded. And I would mimic it. I would act him like I would try to mimic every single move, his voice, everything as a little kid right there in my living room. And so as time went on, I really fell in love with music. Taught myself how to sing at a young age. And at first, my cousin, he was like, you sing really good and you should try to do something with it when you get older. And I remember I told my parents about it and everything, but the way I was raised, I was just raised to believe that it wasn't possible to reach those levels. And so what had happened was as time went on, I was kinda like, "Ah, yeah, I'll put music to the side, maybe I'll just make it a hobby." So I taught myself how to play the drums, and then I ended up playing the drums in elementary school. I played the drums for, like, 4 years, and then towards the end of me playing the drums, I taught myself how to play the guitar. All that throughout, I was still teaching myself how to sing my favorite songs, and, once I hit my freshman year, I saw that Justin Bieber had got a record deal and Taylor Swift had got a record deal just from recording themselves singing on YouTube. So I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I have a YouTube channel. I could record myself. So I did. I took my mom's little cheap camera at the time and I had no setup at all. I was just singing into the camera's raw quality. It didn't sound good at all, but I would post 3 videos every day of me singing my favorite songs that I've taught myself to sing over the years. I would post them. I did that for about, I want to say 6, 7 months. And I ended up stopping because people that I went to school with, they were just in my comments on my YouTube saying, "Oh, this is trash. You're bad. Stop." And I let that get to me, so I did. It wasn't until I got out of high school that I started really getting into the real world, and I realized it always was music. Like there's nothing else going for me. There's nothing else that I'm interested in spending my time doing. So that's my music journey. I started taking it serious in 2018 and seeing how far I could go with it, and started writing my own music and my own songs and telling my story. And over the years, it just slowly starts to take off more and more. So,
So what was it like? How do you write lyrics? How do you go about that?
oh, that's a I have a couple ways. Sometimes I just listen to the melody of like a beat that I get sent on an email, or sometimes when there's like no good beats that in my email, I'll go on YouTube and I'll find something. And really, I'll know in the first second or two of like just hearing the first chords of the melody if it's something that I'm going to resonate with. So when that happens, honest to God, before the drums even come in, the melody kind of speaks to me, and I'm just like, "Yep, this is what I'm going to talk about," and it just naturally comes out. And so there's that time. And then there's times where I'll be watching like movies that I watched when I was a kid, and they'll say like one line, and I'll be like, well, okay. So for instance, my song Feeling Sick, in one of the movies I was watching, somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I just woke up feeling sick." And I was like, okay, I woke up feeling sicker than I did the other day. And I was like, okay, that's catchy. And then I just continued to write onto it. And then I wrote that out. And then I ended up finding a beat or an instrumental that went along with it. And that's how that record came to life.
And so how do you find these beats, or do you make them yourself, or do you get? You said you get sent them.
So I guess sent them. I can make them myself. But to be honest with you, like I am a pretty decent producer. I'm not nothing crazy or anything, but my beats are kind of hard for me to perform on myself, because I feel like there's a wall I put inside of my brain where I'm like, this is the vision I had for the beat, and me being on it just wasn't the vision. So I'd rather just have like another artist and see like, okay, here's my creation. Now throw your creation into it and let's make something big.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
said 2018 is when you started doing this for yourself, by
Correct.
yourself.
Yep.
Uh, and you were also at this time going to hack, I assume, for your music business.
Yep. Correct.
What was that like for you?
Wow. So it was it was surreal because I actually had dropped out of high school, and I had to go back and go get my GED because I never really cared about school, to be honest with you. I was always focused on other things, and like the bigger picture in my mind. I was just like, I'd rather be doing this than learning about geometry or something, you know? So I always procrastinated all my work. And so I just got lazy my senior year. I only literally only had one credit left. And for whatever reason, I was just like, nah, I'm not doing it. And which was stupid. As an adult, I'm looking back, I'm like, yeah, I was just a stupid kid. But I ended up getting myself back together and got my GED. And that same year I got my GED, I went to college and graduated within a year of my college. I went to um, a what's it called? Like a quick, I forget what they're called, but it's
Like a
like a
quick start, one
not
of
like a
those.
quick start. It's like where I didn't have any of my gen eds. I just had straight like the major classes.
Oh, nice.
So I ended up finishing it within a couple months to a year. And when I was in there, I was fully locked in. Like I realized to myself that it was never that I was bad at school or that I wasn't smart or anything. It was just I wasn't interested, because when I graduated with the music degree, I ended up getting a letter saying I made the dean's list, which meant a lot to me as as a high school dropout. I was like, dang, I had a dean's list GPA. Like in high school, my GPA was barely one because I never gave any effort. So like it just taught me that my brain worked different, that I really didn't care about academics. I just cared about what it is that I wanted to do in those moments. So
Right, because the same story here is my sister always likes to drag me for having a 3.1 GPA, even
yeah.
though that's not that bad,
Yeah.
when all things considered. But then in college, same story. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do that. I don't want
Yeah.
to do homework. You
Mhm.
kidding me? I'd rather be on the video game or
Exactly.
whatever. I'd rather be playing Call of Duty or something. don't bother me with math.
Yeah.
And here I am at college doing this music stuff, and I got almost a 3.9 GPA because I actually care. I actually give a crap, and I'm also paying for it. But, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
So you did that. You graduated, and you were still doing music all throughout.
Yep. Yep. I met a lot of amazing people throughout my college, and you know what I loved is that, like, I had to travel from York to Harrisburg. It was about, like, a 30-40 minute drive every day there and back, but I loved it so much because every day that I went there, I just knew that I would be inspired by the time I got home because I was just surrounded by so many different musicians, so many different performers. Like, my music class had some people that took, like, performing arts classes, so, like, people that would wanna be in, like, Broadway and plays, so, like, I got
Mm.
to see what their, like, interests were, and then there was people that wanted to be rappers, people that wanted to be singers, people that wanted to be engineers, guitarists, pianists. It was just amazing because I was like, "No way, like, this is real life that I'm just surrounded by all these people that have, like, the same mindsets and interests that I have," and I loved it. I would do it all over again, I really would.
So did you ever end up collaborating with any of those?
I have, last year, I, went to my boy Malachi's house, and me and my 2 buddies, Shane actually, who's on off camera, we went to my buddy Malachi's house, and, we just freestyled over some beats that he had made, and we were just chilling. We probably did that for like maybe 3-4 hours, and it was just a vibe because that was the first time I've seen him since college. So it was about a 2 year gap because of the COVID stuff and all that. So it was cool to get back together, catch up with each other, and reminisce and work on some music as well. He has some tracks that have me on it that I have still never heard. So maybe one day he'll just drop them.
It's always fun when you have like work in progress projects that you just don't know when they're ever going to be released.
Yeah.
And so you graduated, you were starting working with all these other people, and then the big thing hit that took us out for like good 3 years or so.
Yeah.
How was that? What'd you do for that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a blessing to me. I'm sorry about whoever feels the other ways, but it was a blessing to me because at that time, like, I was a starving artist. I was working at a craft store part-time while making my music while also attending college. And when I got out of college, that job was actually going out of business. So I was thinking to myself, what am I gonna do that I can still have enough time to make my music and balance what it is that I really want in life. And I was stressed out about it for probably like 2, 3 months, like even before I graduated college. I was stressing about it. And honest to God, it was crazy. It was God, honestly, because I was praying, I was doing all these things, and God gifted me that opportunity. That's how I view it because literally a week before we were about to shut down, they announced COVID and they shut everything down themselves, which made my company go out of business a week early. But it gave me all the time in the world to work on music. And I remember telling myself, because the first couple of weeks of COVID, I was thinking, I was like, man, I'm just gonna play Call of Duty the whole time. But
Right.
then, because Warzone had just came out.
Right, right,
You
right.
know what I
What a
mean?
time for like
Honestly, like,
for
they knew it,
roast.
they
Yeah,
knew
they
it.
knew
Yeah, they knew what they were
it.
doing. They knew what they were doing. But listen, so, like, I was thinking, "Man, I'm just gonna play Warzone this whole entire time off and get this stimmy money. I don't gotta worry about nothing," right? And then I started to think to myself about a week or 2 after Warzone had came out, I was thinking, "If I don't walk away from this situation with some new skill or some new mindset," it was never that I lacked time, it was that I lacked the discipline.
Mm.
And when I told myself that, I made it a point to wake up before anybody in that house I was staying at. Till I woke up at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. every morning. I would take an ice cold shower to wake me up and get me going. As soon as that would happen, I'd go downstairs, make a hot cup of tea. Every single day I did this. I'd go down to the basement where I had my room and my little studio set up, and I would record it. I would try to record at least 2 to 3 songs every day.
Wow.
And I did that for the entire quarantine. And by the end of that quarantine is when I made Stressed Out. And Stressed Out was like, oh, okay. Like, I saw myself evolving because I was putting hours in. So I kind of view it like a gym, like when you go start a gym, you feel groggy about yourself. You feel like, oh, I'm never gonna put on muscle. I'm not gonna lose weight, whatever it is your goal is. And then when you keep doing it for months upon months, the same thing every day, then you start to see the results, and then you start to become more obsessed with it. So that's exactly how it was for me.
Yeah, that's how it is with just like anything else. Songwriting, beat making, whatever have you, is a skill that you need to invest in.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit. We have some of your songs here. Tell me a little bit about "Pretty Little Liars."
Pretty Little Lies. So, man, I can't even explain how this song came on because I was at the studio in early 2021 and I had a 5-hour session and I kind of finished up everything that I had written. So I had like about 30, 40 minutes left. And I just told the engineer, I was like, just go on YouTube. And we went on YouTube. He found the Pretty Little Lies beat. I liked the boom, 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 the little melody, right? And I was like, okay, what's the title called? He was like, it's called Pretty Lies. And I was like, okay, Pretty Little. I was like, Pretty Lies, Pretty Lies. So I was like, load it up. So he loaded it up in the Pro Tools, and honestly, I made the whole song in 6 minutes. I just closed my eyes. I was just in the zone already because I had been recording 4 hours prior. So I was just like, load this up, start recording, and we'll chop it up and see what sounds good. And honestly, I didn't one take it, but I did freestyle the whole song. I didn't have anything written for it. And when I made it, it was kind of like that feeling I had when I made Stressed Out Again. I was like, oh man, like this song right here is crazy. And the fact that I just made it in 6 minutes. I remember the engineer looked at me and he like took his headphones off and he laughed and he said, bro, you just made that song in 6 minutes. And I was like, oh snap. Cause to me, it felt like I was in there for like 10, 15 minutes. Because I was just like in my head, but I was just kind of speaking without thinking, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So yeah.
Let's take a listen to "Pretty Little Lies" by Exposed Toxic.
You're so pretty when you tell your lies. Trying to keep you straight face, glued like my eyes. Always telling you my passions like I'm wise. Just for you to up and leave when the sunrise. Yeah, pretty little lies, pretty little lies. How you tell them all the time, how you tell them all the time. Pretty little lies, pretty little lies. How they take me by surprise, how they take me by surprise. Pretty little lies, how you tell them all the time. And you still play disguise with the love. Tell me how we're both fucked up in the club. Can't remember how we got here, but I ain't drink enough. Maybe I ain't drink enough of the Hennessy. Got me reminiscing about the things I keep in my memory. Snakes always watching me from a distant tree. Always be the ones I consider to be friends with me. Talk behind my back, but they don't have a dream. Be the same ones as if it when I show up to the scene. Study me on socials where they can't be seen, but I'm doing better than they mislead. Yeah, people always hate it. I was just an outcast. Depression's overweighing. I'm lucky that cloud passed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty little lies, pretty little lies. How you tell them all the time, how you tell them all the time. Pretty little lies, pretty little lies. How they take me by surprise, how they take me by surprise. Pretty little lies, how you tell them all the time. And you still play disguise with the love. Tell me how we're both fucked up in the club. Can't remember how we got here, but I ain't drink enough.
That was "Pretty Little Lies" by Exposed Toxic. So tell me a little bit about sometimes you just go in a free flow.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes out. One thing I like to refer back to is an old interview that Michael Jackson had where he
Mm.
kind of was explaining like you can't force creativity, you can't force inspiration. And he was more obviously it's Michael Jackson, so he's kind of talking about music, but it happens for anything, honestly, that you're trying to do in life. But he kind of just was like, you kind of have to let it happen. You kind of have to let the energy manifest within you and just come out. Like, don't try to force it out. Don't try to overthink it. Just sometimes you just need to take a step back out of body and just let the higher power or God speak. So sometimes that happens for me, but there is times where, I get inside of my head and I get frustrated because I can't come up with things that I like, but that's just normal as an artist.
That's what I was saying. And there's two sides to that coin where, like,
Yeah.
if you want to create something really good, you do have to kind of step back from yourself.
Yeah.
But also, if you want to get better at your craft, like you did, you write 2 or 3 songs a day, no negotiations.
Yeah.
So you've done over, 3 independent albums, 4 EPs. Is this a goal of yours to stay independent, or do you eventually want to get into a record label, or what do you want to do?
Honestly, I want to sign to a record label, but I want to sign to one where I have creative freedom. Like I don't want to like they are out there. I understand there are a lot of like very rare, but I'm just gonna have to work hard to get to that point. But one record label that I want to sign with is Interscope because I just think Interscope allows the artist to be themselves. I'm sure that there's like some back behind the scenes stuff that like nobody knows about, including myself, which is absolutely fine. But as far as, like, if you look who's on the roster of Interscope, like, it just seems like most of those artists have the creative freedom to express themselves, create an album that they wanna create, not that they're trying to just sell, like, Kendrick Lamar is well, I don't know if he is anymore, but he was part of Interscope at one point. Um, Juice WRLD was signed to Interscope, Billie Eilish, Lady Gaga, like, Adele, the list goes on, and these people make albums that they wanna make. I mean, I think Ed Sheeran's also signed to Interscope, which Ed Sheeran is, like, one of the biggest stars right now? So, if you, like, go and look at the roster, it's a very, very good roster. It's very convincing, so they convinced me, and that's the label that I hope and desire to, sign to very soon, yeah.
So how do you think you're gonna get there?
Honestly, the power of social media and just working nonstop, working harder than anybody in this area and anybody else that's doing it. There's always going to be somebody who's working harder than you. So you kind of have to have the mindset that you're in competition with yourself, which is what the mindset that I'm trying to develop within myself is that I am just against myself. So if today I have a video that hits 100 views, I need a video tomorrow that hits 200 views, and just so forth, etc. So that's how I view it. And I just think that, it's inevitable for somebody to get where they want to be in life. All they have to do is just
Do
keep
it.
going. They just
Yeah.
have to keep going. It doesn't matter if it takes some people a year and it takes you 10 years. But you know what? If it takes you 10 years, that's perfectly fine because you're still getting there. But if you quit, you're never getting there.
And even so, it takes a while to, we've in America, we've kind of lost the long-term investing or the
Yeah.
long-term goals mindset. It's all instant gratification. It's all now, 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 now.
Yep.
And if it's not now, then it's never. We really gotta focus, especially when building a fan base like you're doing, like building a career. It's not gonna go overnight.
No.
And oftentimes when it goes overnight, you haven't seen all the years of practice that's gone behind their overnight success.
Yeah, you think they're overnight. Yeah, but you really got like 15 years going and early mornings, late nights. Yeah, it's crazy.
And so tell me a little bit about your social media because it's been kind of going crazy for you.
Yeah, so I have been posting on TikTok for man, since January of last year. January of last year is when I started. Yep. And when I started, I was posting 3 to 4 times every day. And I did that from January to about May, I want to say. And then when it hit the summertime, I started to I saw results. I did see the results, but for whatever reason, I feel like I just burnt myself out because I was doing a lot of these things on my own. And I burnt myself out and I just kind of just got away from being consistent. And so I would post here and there on TikTok for a couple months, but I wouldn't post multiple times a day. And then there was like 2, 3 months where I just didn't post on TikTok. And recently, like a month ago, I started like posting again consistently on TikTok. So yeah. So I just need to get the momentum back up, but I still have a decent amount of following on there. So like I still have people that can still see my content. So it shouldn't be too hard for me because it's not like I'm starting at zero.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always the thing about social media is the consistency.
Yes, for sure. Yep, because people forget about you. The attention spans are ridiculous.
Well, not only that, but the algorithms will forget about you too.
Yeah. Oh, facts.
Because if you're not posting at least consistently,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it's once a week or
It doesn't even
twice a
have
week.
to be good content.
It doesn't have to be good
Yeah.
content. You just have to be consistent about it.
Yep.
And my preference is, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And that's what it should be, especially if you're an artist.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how, what your consistency rate is. As long as you're consistent and you're hitting those markers, you're gonna get more traction, more followership, more and make sure you use the appropriate hashtags, because that's also gonna get you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole
game.
It really is. It's like going to college, but like nobody's teaching you. You just have to trial and error and figure out what works and take notes as you go along.
So what's something that you have yet to do that you want to do? Obviously you want to sign with a label, you want to work with other artists. What are some other things that you would like to do? You're in the music industry or music business industry. You said you wanted to go into staging maybe a little bit. Tell me a little bit about that.
So honestly, if I wanted to do anything beside like once I get to that point, I would love to like model like for a clothing brand or like create my own clothing brand because I love fashion.
Really?
Yeah, I love fashion. I've loved fashion since I was a kid.
What would your label be called?
Oh man, I don't know. So funny story is nobody really knows this except for the closest people to me. But around the time that I started making music, me and my girlfriend, we started this brand, this clothing brand. We never sold it, but we made these pieces and it was called Angels and Outcast. And I kind of viewed it as like these are the people that are like angels and think they're on top of the world. So the brand can be for them. But then the outcast is for the word, like people that feel like they're alone, people. So like both the brand could fit any stereotype or any,
It's a wide demographic.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And the logo it was this hand, just like in this position. And it had a internet globe, but the internet globe had fire flames going up above it.
Interesting.
Yep, and on one side of the globe it said angels, and then the other side outcast.
So, why didn't you do anything with it?
You know what? I don't know, because I think like I was just too focused with like trying to better myself as an artist. So I was like, what I need to do is just lock in and be the best artist I can be first.
Choose something.
Yes.
Right. Is there any future for that? Are you willing to want to revisit that, or?
I think I would revisit it once I like accomplish most things that I wanted to do, and when I get to the point where I feel like I can start to comfortably expand myself in the artist world. Like right now, I'm just really focused on catching the eye of like labels and getting myself to that point where I can just sit back and be like, okay, I'm comfortable, but I'm not too comfortable. You know?
So it's probably better to have a following than create a
Yeah.
brand and stuff.
Yeah, before you just start dumping thousands of dollars into it.
So you mentioned that you were getting the attention of radio stations, influencers, celebrities. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so the first time I got noticed was in 2020. Yep. It was in 2020. It was during the pandemic time. There was this rapper I followed. His name was Made in Toyo. He still makes music. He's just not super like in the scene as much anymore. But at that time he was heavy in the scene. And I follow him on Instagram, and I saw his manager made a post and was like, "We're looking for an artist to have on this song. Who you want to see in the comments below?" So I was just fishing. I was like, let me see what I can do. So I commented. All I said was put me on. That's all I said. And then like a week later, I had an email from the rapper himself and was like, "Yo, I listened to some of your stuff. You got a lot of potential. Like, let me see what we could do and make it happen." And nothing ever came out of it, but it was still cool that I got that acknowledgement. And then fast forward to 2021, I had got noticed by another underground rapper by the name of Lil Lowski. And I have 2 songs with him that's actually unreleased. I don't think he's plans on releasing them. He's had them for a while, but they are out there. So maybe one day some hacker somewhere will leak it. But I do have 2 songs with him. He's a Cincinnati rapper. He has a couple 100,000 followers on social medias and whatnot. And then 2022 was the big year. So I had multiple people follow me on TikTok that were celebrities, such as a rapper by the name of Daniel. Uh, I had Cole Bennett like one of my videos. He didn't follow me, but anybody who's in like the underground rap scene, they know who Cole Bennett is. And I had Landon Barker, who is Travis Barker's Blink 182, the
Right,
drummer.
yeah.
I had Landon Barker. He still follows me to this day on TikTok, which was surreal to me because Travis Barker is one of the main reasons why I started
That's
getting
an
in.
icon.
Yeah. So, so in October, all right, preface, Landon followed me back in August of 2022 last year. About October, I think it was the end of October. I was sitting at my job that I work right now, and Travis Barker called me on Instagram, and he was just like, "Yo, my son showed me your music. I like what you got going on. I would like to make something happen." And long story short, we're still trying to make that happen. They're on tour right now, so that's pretty difficult. But yeah, but that was so cool
That's
too.
crazy.
Yeah, because like I said, when I first fell in love with music, I was playing the drums, and one of the reasons is
Blink-182.
yeah, exactly, dude. Like, just remember going crazy back when Travis had hair, you know? Yeah, honestly, bro. And my mom is a big Blink 182 fan, so that's how I like discovered them as a child. And this year I've had a couple rappers message me on Instagram as well, kind of giving me that little boost of confidence and cosign. So yeah, super dope.
So we have another piece of your music here. It's Feeling Sick. We kind of talked about it a little bit before.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit more about it.
So Feeling Sick, I actually wrote when I was really depressed at one point last year. I think it was the beginning of last year. I want to say I actually know it was around December of 2021 before I started the TikTok. And I made it after I had watched a movie where, like I said, somebody said that line of I'm feeling sick today, right? And I just wrote that out, and then I was like, okay, let me go make a song. And as I wrote it and I listened to the beat, I was just like, I'm gonna try to be as vulnerable as possible on it. And that's how this song came out. So everything I feel in this song is how I was feeling in that moment.
Let's take a listen to Feeling Sick by Exposed Toxic.
Yeah, I woke up feeling sicker than I did the other day. I got critics on my ears, but I can't hear a word they say. I've been dreaming of a world where they all screaming my name, and they look at me like I'm a star, but that won't ease the pain. Yeah, I woke up feeling sicker than I did the other day. I got critics on my ears, but I can't hear a word they say. I've been dreaming of a world where they're all screaming my name, and they look at me like I'm a star, but that won't ease the pain. I've been losing sleep, stressing about things that I can change for the past week. I got so many people counting on me, but who do I depend on when I'm feeling weak? They try to say that they understand me, cause the words that I write are sounding like a story. But I've been kind of thinking of a relapse, cause what if I never get out of a life that's boring? Yeah, I woke up feeling sicker than I did the other day. I got critics in my ears, but I can't hear a word they say. I've been dreaming of a world where they're all screaming my name, and they look at me like I'm a star, but that won't ease the pain. Yeah, I woke up feeling sicker than I did the other day. I got critics in my ears, but I can't hear a word they say. I've been dreaming of a world where they're all screaming my name, and they look at me like I'm a star, but that won't ease the pain.
and that was Feeling Sick by Toxic. So you got a few things coming up.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that. What else do you have coming up? Do you have new tracks or new anything albums released planned or?
Yeah, so I got a couple singles that I think are really gonna take people by storm. A lot of songs that I can't even physically, mentally believe that I've created, to be honest with you. I just recently made them within the last 2 weeks or so, so they're still new to me. But yeah, I just need to figure out what order I wanna drop them in. I'm gonna be consistently dropping. I know 1, 2, 3 just dropped, and that's a popular song. So but people have heard 1, 2, 3 because I performed it and I've showed snippets of it before, but these songs nobody's gonna hear until they drop. So it's gonna be a fresh new thing. So I know people are gonna love it. It's undeniably good. So yeah, I'm super excited to drop those. As far as the singles go, I do have some album ideas, but I feel like I just want to see how these singles go before I announce an album. But as far as like how these singles do go, those singles might like roll out
An album.
and into the album, you know? So yeah, we'll see.
It's always an argument today, especially when we live in a singles driven era.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, see, man, I don't know because I personally, as an artist, just love dropping bodies of work. Like I just love because I'm a type of artist where the art means everything to me. Like the message, the stuff, the vibes. I don't just throw random songs that I think are good into an album. Like it needs to make sense. It needs to be an experience to the listeners. So like I go all the way out until like the cover art and everything. Like, am I all right? I remember me and my team, we went out to a cornfield and we shot probably for about 4 hours out there. And I was just like, I want it to look like I'm buried. And that's what it was. So like if you see the cover art, like I'm laying here, I had a sweater that I went and bought at a thrift store. I cut it up a little bit, threw some fake blood on it, and I made it look like I was murdered and buried because the point of the album was to say like, okay, the old me is gone. This is the new artist me, and this is where I'm headed. Like my past is my past and my future, and where I'm headed is what I'm focused on. So I named the project "Am I Alright?" because it's a lot of vulnerable, songs on it. So like I said, I focus a lot on the art. So I do have some title ideas for the album, and I do have some cover art ideas for the album. But until we get to that point, I'm not gonna leak anything about it.
Well, all right. It's so interesting how the single culture has kind of left the artwork or the body work behind.
Yes, because people don't want to take the time to listen to 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. People don't want to listen to those unless it's Lil Wayne, Drake,
Or
Ed
any of the big
Sheeran,
names.
Adele, like unless it's the huge names that they already know they're gonna like. If it's somebody they never heard, they're just gonna click on the first song, and if it doesn't pique their interest in any way, they're just gonna be like, "Yep, album's trash."
And especially in a time where albums are just amalgamations of songs where
Yep.
their best ones are the first like 3 tracks and then the rest of them are kind of mid,
Yep.
if even applicable to be added.
Whoa, don't get it messed up though. There's some times where at the end, there's like a diamond just hiding, and you're like, okay, wait, all right, this could have been the first song because if this was the first song, then I don't know if I would have played the rest of the album because this is my favorite song. Sometimes they know what they're doing though because they're like, yeah, I'm gonna have the 3 first ones be amazing, then the B mid and the track number 8 or track number 12 in the middle will just be another number 3. So.
It's always interesting to me. I think we do live in a major, especially with TikTok.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a singles and almost like a 30-second of that single snippet time that we live in.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's the algorithm is always changing too on TikTok.
Oh, absolutely.
It truly is.
It's annoying, really.
Yes, honestly, as a creative, it truly is like.
And it's like draining.
Yes, man, it really is. So like, I just started to teach myself this new schedule of how I'm gonna like dominate it. So I was just like, all right, that's what I'm gonna do.
Any little tidbits you want to give for any artists out there? That's
yeah, man. So what I recommend is if you have a song, make sure it's the best quality that you can get it to. It doesn't have to sound like your big mainstream artist. Just get it listenable. If you're recording on your phone and you can hear your brother or sister screaming in the background,
Good
or
AC running.
yeah, you got a fan blowing or something, like that's probably not it, Chief. So like, yeah, don't go back in there and maybe hire somebody on Fiverr, maybe one of your friends in your neighborhood, or
get a cheapo mic.
Get a nice little cheap mic. Honestly, I started on a Guitar Hero mic, a PS3 Guitar Hero mic with the USB, and I just plugged it into Audacity.
Wow.
And that's what I started on. My very first song, that's what I started on. And you know how I got the quality of my first song? I just went on YouTube and I was like, how to sound like this person on Audacity.
So
and luckily,
how to EQ, right?
Yeah, I was like, luckily there was one YouTuber who had a preset of how to sound like this artist I was trying to sound like. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna copy everything. I had auto-tune on Audacity, all of it. And for the longest before I got my laptop, my new laptop, that's what I was making my songs on. So like, just get your music sounding right. When you get to that point, find a snippet of your song that is super catchy that even you yourself are singing over and over again when you're not making anything creative,
or that's even super relatable to other.
Yes,
because what you're looking for is to create a sound on TikTok that can be done in so many different ways that it's unbelievable.
Exactly. Once you get that snippet, I recommend just going out to a park. We literally did that before we got here. Like, we went out to a park, shot all this content. Go to a park, get a nice little tripod. If you don't have any friends to help you, set up your phone, play the song, record at the same time. There's ways to do it. Look it up. You can find it on TikTok, you can find it on YouTube, and just go out there and do little movements. Or you watch music videos, so clips that you like in music videos, mimic them, and then go back on your phone. If you don't have a laptop or an iPad or any editing software, you can literally just use your phone, download an app called CapCut. It's free. You can do a lot of amazing things with it. Chop it up. They have an auto sync lyrics thing there. Click it. It'll throw your lyrics in exactly where you're saying it. Make it look nice. Balance it out. Throw it on TikTok and just make the hashtags as equivalent to your song. So like, if you make a sad song, be like, sad song, depressing song,
or just
rainy days,
depression.
Depression.
Literally the most broadest things you could ever think of. That's what you want to cover, all bases there.
Exactly. And you know, once you start to do that, you'll start to realize what times your content start to pop off. And once you have done that for about a month, you'll really start to see what times specifically your stuff pops off. So then once you have that, record it, write it down somewhere, put it in your phone notes, and only post your content at those times. And then stay consistent with those times for 1 month. I guarantee you by the end of that 1 month, you're going to have over 1,000 followers that you gained in that 1 month. I can promise you it.
Yeah, and it's so easy to manipulate the algorithm to your benefit. Because like, if we're staying on the sad topic, when are people most likely sad? Probably late at night.
Yep. Or in the fall.
Or
in fall, wintertime.
When people get up, when that seasonal depression hits.
Exactly.
And when people are happy, the opposite. You know, you go.
Or it's kind of messed up, but like, pay attention to what's happening in the real world and what the news is talking about, because people can blow up. Like, I know this one artist that I was pretty cool with on TikTok. Back when the Justin Bieber, Selena, and Hailey Bieber stuff was happening. I don't know if you know about that, but it was happening probably about like 2 months ago. He just so happenly had a song that sounded like Justin Bieber's perspective of him singing to Selena. So he literally just, during that time when the internet and TikTok and everybody was talking about this drama, he just posted the song up and he was like, POV, which stands for point of view. He's like, POV, this is what Justin Bieber meant to say to Selena. I swear to God, that song blew up. And he went from like 2,000-3,000 followers, dude, to now he has, I think, like 400 some thousand followers off of one video, because it got like over 3 million views.
Yeah, and you know, to be added, granted, don't make songs just to reflect current times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But if you find an application, I know this one of my friends has a song that I've been to this dungeon before. How many things could that apply to?
Yeah.
That's endless. I've been to this dungeon before. That can apply to so many different things. Just think of what your song could apply to, and if like we kind of said that this was stifling our creativity just a little bit.
Yep.
But even with TikTok, you could come up with little skits, little photo shoot opportunities, little videos that go along. Like imagine this is not my views, but if you came in to that song, came in after a long day and you just get chabbered by your kids or you come into the bar and someone's asking you for a drink. Oh, I've been to this dungeon before. And you're trying to be sober and all that jazz. There's just small stuff like that, and you can just make your stuff go wild. And don't be afraid to milk a song.
Oh, for
all it's worth.
Listen, this is what I explain to my friends. I explain to them, like, think about it this way. You, as the creator, you're like, oh man, I posted this song 400 times. Like, they have to be getting tired of hearing about it, right? But something you have to realize is like, there's going to be one person that saw that didn't see it before.
Right.
So how many times, really think about this, anybody who's listening to this podcast right now, think about how many times have you ordered a Big Mac or a Happy Meal from McDonald's, right? Throughout your entire life. But you still see the Happy Meal and Big Mac commercials on TV, but you don't think twice about it. You're not like, oh, this is so annoying, because it's just so normal to you at this point because you've been seeing it your whole entire life. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to see that commercial and then you're going to be like, man, maybe I could eat a Big Mac right now. You know what I mean? So like, just keep posting it until it goes, and keep posting it until you feel that you have done enough with it or it has reached its max like level of what it can go, right? And then by then just easy drift into a new song or a new content that's very similar.
I was going to say, yeah, do it for like a good month or so, and and at least a month or so, and then once you come out with your new single, slowly transition to that and milk that for all it's worth. And then if you don't have anything in between, go back to an old song and milk that for all it's worth. And there is no shame in like reamping a song that you've already milked.
Yeah,
because sometimes they refill on milk. So just get it out.
No, I agree. I mean, dude, I dropped Feeling Sick in January of last year. I didn't milk that song at all until about November of last year. And the first time I just posted it, literally, I didn't even think about it. I just had this random video that I recorded of the night sky that I had that just sit on my phone where I thought the sky looked beautiful. It was about like a 20-30 second clip. I threw a filter on it, make it look all like a little dark and sad because the song is sad. And then I just threw the lyrics over it, nothing else. I'm not in it. It's just the sky, the filter, the lyrics. I just posted it on TikTok, went to bed. Woke up the next day, I had like 200 likes on the video. 200 likes on the video. This is my first time posting on TikTok in probably like 2 months. And I just had like 50 comments saying, "You're up next. Love this song. This song's amazing." So I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep recording these little B-roll films and just throw my lyrics on them. And people loved it. People ate it up. My streams on that song literally just went. And I was like, what the heck? Like, it was just this easy. Like, I just burnt myself out months and months ago trying to make this quality stuff when I'm just sitting. I can literally just pull my phone out right now, record where I'm at, what I'm doing, and throw lyrics over it and post it. And that's that easy.
It doesn't have to be super hard. And like you said, that to you, that might not seem like quality, but that's fantastic to anybody who's like, late at night when you probably posted it. It's already starry outside. People are, feeling kind of sad at that hour.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be so hard.
Yeah. It's not there's a science when it comes to posting it and like, with the algorithm stuff, that is the science. But when it comes to the videos itself, sometimes the ones that you don't overthink and the ones that you don't think are going to take off are the ones that would take off. Like my biggest video, I posted one day where I literally just forgot to post. So I was like, oh, yeah, because I had a time where I wanted to post. I wanted to post around noon, and it was like 2:30, and I was like, oh snap, I didn't post. And I was like, what do I have on my phone that I could post? Because I didn't have no drafts. I was like, okay, I have this live performance video I can post real quick. I just took 7 seconds from that video. I posted it. I threw up some like motivational thing about it that relates to artists and people that want to be big one day, right? I closed it. I didn't open it back up till about 5 p.m. that night. I promise you, when I opened it up, it had 20,000 views. And it was a video that I didn't even think. Now, right now, I'm pretty sure that video is sitting at like 160,000 views and probably like almost 14,000 likes with over like probably 1,000 comments. And it was just a video that I didn't even put a thought into. I didn't even mean to post it. I just literally posted it because I just wanted to have that consistent mark, you know? Like I was like, okay, I can't take this off because the algorithm's going to look at it as, oh, I missed this time. I'm going to get knocked down to the bottom of the food chain with the algorithm. So I just need to post. And that's what came out of it.
Well, we're kind of running out of time here, so I got a few questions that I like to ask all my artists. First one, you're a Christian, right?
Yeah. I'm a Christian, but I'm a like, it's difficult.
But here's my question: where do you find yourself most in tune with God?
Most in tune with God. Most in tune with God, I probably feel when. Oh, that's a good question. Huh. Probably when I'm manifesting, or when manifestations become to life.
So expand on that a little bit.
So, for instance, when Landon Barker followed me, I have been manifesting working with Travis Barker my whole entire life. It wasn't always something I thought about every day or every year, but it was something that I was just like, oh man, that'd be crazy. We would make a good song. That would be amazing just to hang out with him and we'll up the bang, right? And so when he followed me and I knew what he was capable of showing his music to his dad, I literally almost broke down in tears. And I remember it was pouring down rain that night. I just went out into my neighborhood. I threw my earbuds in. I walked around in that pouring rain for an hour at like 11 o'clock at night, listening to my music that I had just recorded. And I was just talking to God. And I was like, thank you for everything. Everything that I've been through in life, I finally understand it. And I'm sorry that I ever doubted you, or I'm sorry that I just never understood what you had planned for me. So it's moments like that where things start to happen for me, or I want things to happen for me, that I need to take a step back and be like, okay, it's not happening right now, but God has me. God will make it happen.
What's some of the biggest mistakes that maybe you've seen made, or maybe you've made yourselves in terms of artists, and how can we curb that?
Ooh. Man, I've never been asked that question. That's a good question. I think my biggest mistake that I make, and it's very common, it happens to me all the time, is self-doubt, which is normal. But I feel like the way I was growing up, like I grew up in an abusive home. So like those voices in my head are like voices that I've always heard my entire life just from other people. So like when I tell myself I'm not good enough, it literally happened this morning. Like even though I'm here right now and I'm talking about my music and not everybody gets to do these types of things, I was just in the shower this morning getting ready for my day, and I was just like, maybe I won't be able to do this. Not as in this podcast, but just what I'm going for. I'm like, maybe my music won't blow up.
Maybe I should give up.
Yeah, all the time. But I just can't, because I couldn't live with myself if I did, you know? And that's the bigger picture. So as far as fixing it, I think just to keep pushing through the darkness, that I like to call it. Just keep pushing through that darkness until a little light peeks out, and you can just push your way through and get to where you want to be. And when I get to where I want to be, I feel like I'll be like, okay, I'm here. I'm here now.
Whenever those thoughts pop up in my head, I just do something I really like doing, like, walking, or playing a piano, or doing something that, reinvigorates that love, that passion is. Because if you think that stuff, think that's yourself, and then you just stay in bed all day, it's probably not the best way to cope with that. But if you think that, and you just go to the piano and practice for a little bit, you'll remind yourself, I am this good.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yep.
And that's when inspiration really hits.
Yeah, I try to, when I do get back, not every time, but when I do get to those moments, I try to go listen to music that nobody's heard of yet, that I have made. Like how I said, I made those recent songs. So I would go and listen to those, and I'd be like, okay, what they know right now isn't what I know. You know what I mean? Like they heard that Exposed Toxic, but they haven't heard this Exposed Toxic.
So you've performed a lot.
That was only my first. I mean, it wasn't my first, but it was technically my first. My first show, like I only performed to like 3 people.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So how was that experience for you? Let's talk about Ronnie on Center just a little bit while we
Yeah.
cut it out.
Yeah. I went into the show. I know Ronnie personally. I've known Ronnie for about 7 or 8 years. Um, we've always talked about our music together and whatnot, and he just recently started taking his stuff serious. So he had reached out to me a couple of weeks prior before the show and was like, "Do you want to open?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll love to." And um, he gave me my set time. I was very blessed that he made it very close to his, so that I made sure that a lot of people were there. They were all going to pay attention and actually give me the attention that I feel like I needed and deserved for myself. And I just went into the show with the mindset of, there's a lot of great artists here. There's a lot of great talent. There's a lot of amazing people, but I need to come out being one of the best performers that night. And I feel like that's what I did, but I'm not gonna say I wasn't like nervous, because I definitely was nervous, but I was just like, you know what? Just need to come out here, make it as relatable as possible to these people, make it feel like I'm their friend, but they're also being entertained by me, and that they can resonate with what I'm saying through my songs. So let me tell a story about why I wrote the songs. So that's what I did. And I got a lot of love afterwards. I hopped off the stage. There was a lot of amazing fans that came up, asked for pictures, gave me some items and gave me hugs and was crying and saying they love my music. So that in itself was a surreal moment.
It was a very good set. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. And what Ronnie put together was incredible. We're gonna have him on the show at some point to talk about it, because that was absolutely an iconic show.
Yeah.
It's crazy good.
Yeah, me and him are definitely we got some other stuff that's not in the works yet, but it's just up in the air. So we're gonna be on stage again together soon.
So do you have any upcoming performances, or where can people find you at?
So you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, everywhere streaming wise at Expose Toxicc with 2 C's.
2 C's.
Yep, 2 C's. And then social medias is at exposing period Toxicc, 2 C's. And right now I'm trying to book shows, but in this area it's just not the most easiest thing, because there's not a lot of like venues that are open to like having big crowds, or like if it is a big crowd then it's kind of like a dinner type of vibe as well. So it's hard, but I'm trying to get something. So as soon as I do, I will make it public. And
I'll try to hook you up with some things.
Awesome.
Here's the last question: why expose Toxicc with 2 C's?
Okay, so I was in a relationship all throughout high school, and when I got out of that relationship, I just remember that person would always tell me like, "You're so toxic. Like you're disgusting. You're a toxic person," and all this stuff. And I was just like, okay. So around that time, I was trying to change my Instagram name. So I was like, okay, let me do what nobody's doing. So I was like, I'm just gonna think of the most 2 random words that come up to my mind, and they're gonna be my Instagram name. So it was Toxicc Jump Ships. That's what it was. It was. I don't know why. And then so the girlfriend I'm with now, her friends and her would just call me by my Instagram name. They would just be like, Toxicc, Toxicc, Toxicc. And it sounded like it fit. So I was like, Toxicc. Okay, yeah. And as I started to make music, I realized that I was telling my story and my past heartbreaks and my past trauma and whatnot. And I was
Exposing it.
Exactly, yes. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of exposing myself. So the first year of me dropping music in 2018, I only went by Toxicc. But I was like, you know what? As time went on, right before COVID hit, I was like, Toxicc kind of sounds like an EDM, like dubstep type of vibe. I was like, I don't want people, like, I want to be known as an artist. Like, not that those people aren't artists. That's
right,
not what I mean.
right.
But you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, I don't want it to be misunderstood. So I was like, all right, I'm exposing myself. And everything, like all my songs are real stories. Like I don't lie on none of my songs. They're all real things. So I was like, okay, I'm exposing myself. And I'm a very introverted person. So I was like, okay, expose Toxicc. And I liked it. So that's how it came.
Well, if you want to check out Expose Toxicc, please be sure to follow them all their social medias. I have the link tree in the bio. My name is Corey Rosin. This has been the Story Podcast. And if you want to follow more about me and the stuff we do over here, That's CoreyRosenProductions.com. That's CorYROSEN Productions.com. We got a few cool things lined up. We have our single and album reviews lined up to be continuing, as those are shows where we take singles or albums from the area, and I grab another artist on the show, and we just kind of go over them, give them a little our critical thoughts, and just to expose a little bit of the music around in the area. Otherwise, we have our songwriting studio coming up. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one, but this is where we get 3 or 4 of the artists in the area. We sit them down and we force them to write a song within an hour.
Oh yeah, I would do that. I'll
send you a link for that because we have our third one of those happening this Monday with Liam Galliano, who's an amazing bass player, Anthony Pericini, who's an incredible guitarist, and then me on the piano. We're going to create an instrumental piece.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm excited for that. If you want to stay tuned, later on today, we have another rapper from the local Lancaster area who deals a lot with mental health issues and stuff like that. Recovering drug addicts. We're going to hear his story and stuff along those lines. And then next Tuesday, we have Nick Straver, who is a country artist from the area. And that's all we got until next Saturday, where we have Keita P, who is a soul funk artist from Philadelphia. So I'm excited to talk to her about all things Philly. With all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Bye. Sweet. Of course.